Dr. Elias Winters had always considered himself a man of reason and science. Growing up on Earth, he had dedicated his life to the study of medicine, determined to help those in need. His reputation as a skilled doctor who could heal even the most complicated of alien species ailments had spread across the galaxy. That's why, when the Galactic Federation called for him, he couldn't refuse. It was a simple enough message. Your expertise is needed urgently. Please report to the Xantar station at once. No details, no explanations, just a call for help. He didn't hesitate. His ship was ready within hours, and he set off toward the distant station without a second thought. Xantar Station was located on the edge of a galaxy filled with strange and fascinating creatures. Dr. Winters had been to many space stations before, but this one was different. It was bustling with activity, with beings of all shapes, sizes, and colors moving quickly through the corridors. But what made this station stand out, what made it unforgettable, was the ship that was docking at that very moment. A massive alien vessel scarred by battle approached the station's bay with slow, deliberate movements. Its hull was blackened from the fire of war, and several of its engines were smoking. The ship was the size of a city, its sleek and graceful design reflecting the culture of its inhabitants, a people known as the Vorans. They were a powerful, alien race, known for their elegance, advanced technology, and their cruel and ancient traditions. Dr. Winters' heart raced as the ship docked. He had heard stories about the Vorans, but they were just stories. Now, standing before him, the ship's presence was as imposing as it was beautiful, but the real reason for his summons was much more urgent. Inside that ship lay the Voran queen herself, Queen Xanthia, and she was dying. As the doctors on the station rushed to prepare the operating room, Dr. Winters learned more about the situation. Queen Xanthia had been critically injured during an attack by an enemy faction. Her blood was unique, extremely powerful, yet deadly. It was said that anyone who touched her blood would die instantly. The only being who could touch it safely was a human doctor. Dr. Winters was puzzled. How could it be that only he, a human, was immune to something as deadly as the Queen's blood? But the Federation insisted. Only he had the genetic code to survive the curse. As the call for medical assistance came through, Dr. Winters found himself face to face with a problem that went beyond science and into the realm of legend. The Voran's blood was sacred, both revered and feared. They believed that it held the power of life and death, passed down through generations of their royal bloodline. Queen Xanthia was no exception. Stepping into the sterile, brightly lit medical bay, Dr. Winters could feel the tension in the air. It wasn't just the gravity of the situation. It was the fear. The other alien doctors were silent, their eyes wide with uncertainty. Even the station's security personnel seemed on edge. "Dr. Winters, welcome," said an alien medic, a tall and thin creature with luminous blue skin. His voice was calm, but there was a sense of unease in his tone. "The Queen's condition is worsening rapidly. We need you to begin the procedure immediately." Dr. Winters nodded. "Where is she?" The medic led him through a narrow corridor, his long legs moving gracefully as Dr. Winters struggled to keep up. They reached the operating room, where Queen Xanthia lay unconscious on the table. Her skin was a deep shade of violet, her face pale from the blood loss. It was hard to believe she was the same fierce warrior who had once commanded entire fleets. Her blood was a mystery. The Vorans believed it was a gift from the stars, a power that ran through the royal family's veins. Some said it was the very essence of life itself, capable of healing wounds beyond imagination. Others said it was cursed, because anyone who touched it would die within seconds. But Dr. Winters was different. His genetic makeup, for reasons unknown, allowed him to survive. The moment he touched the Queen's blood, the curse would be lifted. He could save her life. The air was thick with anticipation as the other doctors stepped back, giving Dr. Winters space. His heart pounded as he donned his medical gloves, his hands slightly trembling. The gravity of the moment wasn't lost on him. He wasn't just saving a life. He was standing at the center of an ancient mystery. Dr. Winters moved closer to Queen Xanthea, his eyes focused on her chest, where her heart beat slowly, almost imperceptibly. Her blood had already started to seep out of the wound, spreading across the table. The sight of it made his stomach churn, so dark, so alien. Yet it was his job to touch it, to draw it into a syringe for the transfusion that could save her life. He took a deep breath and reached out, his fingers just inches away from the blood. His pulse quickened. This was it. The moment he would either succeed or fail. As his gloved hand made contact with the Queen's blood, he braced himself for the inevitable. But to his surprise, nothing happened. He didn't die. The blood didn't burn him. Instead, a strange sensation washed over him, like a jolt of energy traveling up his arm. The blood seemed to pulse in rhythm with his heartbeat. The room was silent, everyone staring at him in disbelief. He was still alive. He hadn't been killed. Dr. Winters glanced down at his hand, feeling a strange warmth spreading from the touch. It was like the blood itself was alive, as if it were calling to him. The medic beside him gasped. How is this possible? Dr. Winters didn't have an answer. He just knew he had to keep going. With a steady hand, he extracted the Queen's blood into a special vial. The moment he did, the tension in the room lifted slightly. But they all knew that this was just the beginning. Now, Dr. Winters had to do more than just collect the blood. He had to save the Queen's life. Dr. Elias Winters felt a sense of unease settle into his bones as he stood over the unconscious form of Queen Xanthea. The Queen's body lay on the cold operating table, the strange dark purple hue of her skin still visible even under the bright lights of the medical room. Despite his calm exterior, Dr. Winters' heart raced. No one had ever come this close to the Queen's blood without suffering the curse. Except for him. He glanced over at the alien medics who surrounded him. Their eyes were wide with confusion and a hint of fear, their otherworldly features tense, as they watched his every move. They were no longer sure what to believe. The legends of Queen Xanthea's blood had been passed down through generations, but none of them had ever dared to question it. None of them had ever believed it could be anything other than a deadly curse. But here he was, a human doctor, standing in the middle of their most sacred and terrifying secret, untouched by the curse that had killed so many before him. He wasn't immune to the danger, but he was somehow able to survive the blood that had claimed the lives of others. The strange warmth in his fingers where he had touched the Queen's blood was still there, almost as if it were calling to him. He felt a connection with the blood, a deep, unexplainable bond. It was unlike anything he had ever experienced, and it filled him with a sense of wonder and fear. The blood, with all its power and mystery, was now in his hands. But Dr. Winters knew the hardest part was yet to come. He had to save the Queen's life, and that meant he needed to perform the most delicate procedure he had ever attempted. The medical team stood in silence, waiting for him to begin. "Doctor, do you need assistance?" one of the alien medics asked. Softly, their voice trembling, Dr. Winters shook his head, his eyes still fixed on the Queen. "No, just stand back. Let me do this." With a deep breath, he gently set the syringe of the Queen's blood on the sterile metal tray beside him. It had to be transferred into her system carefully, or it could kill her instantly. The blood was too powerful, too dangerous. He could feel its energy, and he knew that a single wrong move could be fatal. As he prepared the transfusion, his mind raced. How could he, a human, have such a connection to this alien queen's blood? There were no answers, only questions, but his instincts told him that this was no accident. Something had led him here, something more than just fate. But there was no time to think about that now. He focused all his attention on the task before him. The blood needed to be introduced into the queen's veins, but he had to be careful. Too much at once, and it would overwhelm her fragile body. It had to be done slowly, controlled, and with precision. The room was filled with tension as Dr. Winters carefully began the transfusion. The alien doctors watched him, still unsure of what to make of the situation. The concept of humans being immune to the queen's blood was unheard of. But here he was, the only one who could save her, a human in a galaxy full of powerful ancient beings. The irony was not lost on him. As he worked, he began to notice something strange. The queen's blood seemed to respond to his touch, almost as if it recognized him. It was subtle, but every time he pressed the syringe into her veins, he felt a faint pulse, like the blood was alive, aware of his presence. A strange thought crossed his mind. What if the blood wasn't cursed? What if it was just waiting for someone like him, someone who could truly understand it, someone who wasn't bound by the same fears and superstitions as the aliens who feared it? The more he worked, the more connected he felt to Queen Xanthea. He could sense her breathing steadying, her heart rate returning to normal. It wasn't just the blood that was healing her, it was the bond that had begun to form between them. The medics were still watching, silent and still. They had never seen anything like this before. Dr. Winters was an anomaly, a human who could survive the queen's blood, who could touch it and not die. It was as if the universe itself had chosen him for this moment, and now the queen's fate rested in his hands. Finally, after what seemed like an eternity, the procedure was complete. The syringe was empty, and the queen's blood had been carefully transferred into her system. Dr. Winters stepped back, his breath coming in shallow gasps. He felt exhausted, but the queen's condition was improving. Her skin, once pale and lifeless, now had a faint glow. Her breathing was steady, her heart beating stronger with each passing second. "She's alive," Dr. Winters whispered, almost in disbelief. But just as he began to feel a sense of relief, a voice broke through the stillness of the room. "You did it," said a deep voice from the doorway. Dr. Winters turned to see a tall, regal-looking alien entering the room. This alien was different from the others. There was an air of authority about him. His skin was a dark shade of green, and his eyes glowed faintly with an unnatural light. His armor gleamed as he moved, and the other medics instantly stepped aside, bowing their heads in respect. The newcomer approached Dr. Winters, his gaze fixed on the queen. "You saved her." Dr. Winters nodded, still unable to fully comprehend the magnitude of what had just happened. "I don't know how, but I did what I had to do." The green-skinned alien stepped closer, his eyes narrowing with suspicion. "You are human," he said slowly. "You should not have been able to touch her. Blood, but you did." His voice grew more dangerous. "Do you understand what that means?" Dr. Winters felt a chill run down his spine. "I don't know what it means," he said truthfully, "but I couldn't just stand by. I had to try." The alien looked at him for a long moment, his eyes filled with both curiosity and something darker. "You have no idea what you've done, human. You've set things in motion that cannot be undone." Dr. Winters stood still, his heart pounding in his chest. He didn't understand what the alien meant, but he knew one thing for certain. This was far from over. There was more to Queen Xanthea's blood than he had ever imagined, and his connection to it was only the beginning. Dr. Elias Winters stood motionless in the quiet of the medical bay, the words of the green-skinned alien still echoing in his mind. "You've set things in motion that cannot be undone." What could that mean? What had he done by saving Queen? Xanthia? His connection to her blood, something that should have been deadly, had saved her life. But it seemed as if he had stepped into something much larger than he had ever expected. The Queen's breathing had steadied, and her pulse was strong again. For the first time since she had arrived on the station, her life no longer seemed in immediate danger. Dr. Winters couldn't help but feel a sense of pride. He had done something no one else could. He had touched the Queen's sacred blood without dying, and in doing so had unlocked a door he could never close. Still, his thoughts were interrupted by the presence of the tall alien. The alien had introduced himself as Lord Thalen, a high-ranking official in the Voran royal family. His presence was commanding, yet there was an undertone of curiosity in his eyes as he looked at Dr. Winters. He had been watching from the doorway, studying the human doctor carefully, as if trying to piece together the mystery of why a mere human could be immune to the Queen's blood. "You saved her," Lord Thalen said again, his tone softer now. "And for that, the Queen owes you her life." Dr. Winters took a deep breath, trying to steady himself. "I didn't do it for her life," he said. "I did it because it was the right thing to do. No one should die if there's a chance to save them." Lord Thalen's eyes narrowed, and for a moment, Dr. Winters thought the alien might lash out. But instead, he simply nodded. "Your kind is different," Lord Thalen said quietly, almost as if speaking to himself. "We have always believed that the Queen's blood would choose its own savior." "It seems the blood chose you, Doctor." Dr. Winters frowned. "I don't understand. Why would her blood choose me? What makes me different from anyone else?" Lord Thalen took a step forward, his gaze intense. "You are human, yet your blood does not reject the Queen's. It does not burn you. That has never happened before. Perhaps it is your species that holds the answer to the mystery we have been seeking for centuries." Dr. Winters's curiosity was piqued. "Mystery? What mystery?" Lord Thalen hesitated, as if unsure how much to reveal. "It is said that the Queen's blood is more than just a curse. It is a key to unlocking a power that has been hidden for millennia, a power that could change the fate of the Vorans, and perhaps even the galaxy." Dr. Winters shook his head. "I'm just a doctor. I don't have anything to do with power. All I care about is healing, saving lives. But you may be more important than you realize," Lord Thalen continued, his voice low. "Your species, humans, may hold the key to unlocking the true potential of the Queen's blood." Before Dr. Winters could respond, the quiet murmur of the Queen's awakening interrupted them. She stirred on the table, her violet skin shifting slightly as she began to open her eyes. Slowly, she blinked, her gaze focusing on Dr. Winters. For a brief moment, their eyes locked. Her deep purple irises held a quiet strength, and Dr. Winters could sense the immense power that lay just beneath the surface of her fragile form. You saved me," the Queen whispered, her voice weak but steady. I do not know how, but I owe you my life, human." Dr. Winters felt a sudden rush of emotion, relief, pride, and something else. A sense of connection he couldn't explain. He had saved her, yes, but something about this moment felt significant. Like he was part of something much larger than himself. "I only did what I had to do," Dr. Winters replied, his voice quiet. "No one should die when there's a chance to save them." The Queen's eyes softened as she regarded him. "You are brave, human. You saved me, and I will not forget that. But you must understand there are forces at work that you cannot yet comprehend. You are now a part of my fate, and perhaps more than you realize." Dr. Winters felt a shiver run down his spine. What did she mean by that? And why did he feel that same strange connection to her blood, as if it were calling him, pulling him, into a destiny he wasn't prepared for? Lord Thalen stepped forward, his voice cutting through the heavy silence. The Queen is right. Your actions have bound you to her, and now you must help us understand the truth of her blood. We believe it may be the key to unlocking the power of the Voran bloodline, and perhaps the key to restoring our people's strength. Dr. Winters frowned. I'm a doctor, not a historian or a warrior. What power are you talking about? Lord, Thalen's expression darkened. You may not understand now, but the Queen's blood is not just a healing force. It is the essence of our species. It was meant to empower us, to give us control over our enemies, and to bring us to the pinnacle of our potential. But it was lost long ago, hidden in the Queen's blood, and no one has been able to unlock its true potential. Until now. Dr. Winters felt his heart race. This was bigger than he had ever imagined. He had thought that saving Queen Xanthia's life was his only task, but now he was realizing that there was more at stake. The fate of an entire species might rest on him, and the very blood he had touched might hold the key to saving them. The Queen closed her eyes and let out a soft sigh, her strength beginning to return. You have no choice now, Doctor. You are connected to my blood, and that bond cannot be undone. Whatever happens next, you will be a part of it. Dr. Winters looked at her, unsure of what to say. The weight of her words hung heavy in the air, and he knew that he had just become part of something far greater than he had ever anticipated. His role in this story, whatever it might turn out to be, had only just begun. The medical bay was silent except for the soft beeping of monitors and the distant hum of the station. Dr. Elias Winters stood by the Queen's side, still trying to process what had just happened. He had saved her life, but that was only the beginning. Now, he found himself entangled in a web of ancient power and hidden mysteries, something far beyond his understanding. Queen Xanthia lay still, her violet skin glistening faintly under the medical lights. Her breathing was steady, her heartbeat strong. She was recovering, but there was something else, something that Dr. Winters couldn't ignore. He could still feel the strange connection between them, the unexplainable bond he shared with her blood. It wasn't just the healing that he had done. It was as if her very essence was now linked to him and he to her. As he observed her, a strange thought crossed his mind. Could the Queen know something about the blood that he didn't? Was there a reason why it had chosen him, a simple human, doctor, to save her life? The room was filled with the scent of sterile air, but Dr. Winters didn't notice. He had been too focused on the Queen and the power inside her blood to pay attention to anything else. His mind was racing with questions, none of which had answers. The Queen slowly opened her eyes again. This time they were clear and focused. Her violet irises locked onto Dr. Winters, as if she had been waiting for him to speak, to ask her the questions that were on his mind. "Thank you," she whispered, her voice weak but steady. "You saved me, Doctor." Dr. Winters cleared his throat, unsure of how to respond. "It was nothing. You would have done the same for me if the situation was reversed." The Queen shook her head slightly, her lips curving into a faint smile. "I doubt it," she replied, her voice barely a whisper. "You have done what no one else could do. You have touched my blood without dying, and now you must understand why that matters." Dr. Winters leaned forward, his curiosity growing. "What do you mean? I don't understand. Why is it so important that I survived touching your blood?" Queen's eyes darkened, as if she were trying to decide whether to reveal the truth. She looked away for a moment as though lost in thought, and then returned her gaze to him. "The blood that flows in my veins is not just a curse," she began, her voice steady despite the weight of her words. "It is the essence of my people, of our very existence. For centuries we believed that our blood held the key to our survival. We believed it was the answer to everything, the power to rule, to heal, and to protect. But it was also dangerous. It killed anyone who tried to take it. It was a weapon, a tool of destruction, and for that we kept it hidden. But now it has chosen you. Dr. Winters was silent, trying to absorb what the Queen had just said. "Chosen me," he repeated, his voice barely a whisper. The Queen nodded, her eyes filled with a strange mixture of sadness and hope. "Yes, Doctor, your blood has a rare quality, something that allows it to accept mine. We Vorons have long searched for someone who could touch my blood without dying. We never thought it would be a human." Dr. Winters stepped back, stunned by the revelation. "So, what does that mean? Why now? Why me?" The Queen closed her eyes for a moment, as if preparing herself for the truth she was about to reveal. "It means you are a key to something much greater than either of us can understand. My blood is ancient. It has been passed down through generations, each queen more powerful than the last. But in all this time, no one has truly unlocked its potential. I have tried. Others have tried. But the curse, the power, the danger, it has always held us back." Dr. Winters shook his head, trying to piece the puzzle together. "So, my blood is compatible with yours? But why is that important?" The Queen's expression softened as she looked at him. "It is important because your blood has the ability to unlock the true power of mine. There is a reason why you survived the blood. There is something in you, something unique, that none of my people have. My blood, when properly connected with yours, could change everything. It could give the Vorans the power they have sought for centuries, the power to rule and protect us all. But only if we can understand it. Only if we can unlock its true potential." Dr. Winters was silent, for a moment the weight of her words settling on him. "And you think I can help you do that?" The Queen's eyes glinted with a flicker of hope. "Yes, I do. Your species, humans, you are different. Your connection to my blood is the key. You have the ability to unlock what we have failed to understand for generations. But you must understand this. If we are to succeed, it will come at a price." "A price?" Dr. Winters asked, his heart suddenly racing. The Queen nodded slowly. "Yes, the power that we seek is not something we can control easily. It is ancient, dangerous, and unpredictable. To wield it will require sacrifices. But without it, the Vorans will fall. We will be lost to time, to our enemies, and to ourselves. It is a choice we must make, and you, Doctor, are the one who can lead us through it." Dr. Winters felt a wave of confusion and doubt wash over him. This was more than just saving a life. It was about something far greater. He had thought his role in all of this was to heal the Queen and then leave. But now it seemed like he was being pulled into a mission he never asked for, one that could shape the fate of an entire species. "I'm just a doctor," he said quietly, almost to himself. "I never asked for any of this." The Queen smiled faintly. "Sometimes, Doctor, the universe chooses for us." As the silence stretched between them, Dr. Winters felt the weight of the Queen's words. He had saved her life, but in doing so, he had become a part of something far greater. The blood, the power, the mystery, it was all connected. And now, so was he. "You have no choice now," the Queen said softly, her voice filled with a strange finality. "We are bound together, and the future of the Vorans, and perhaps the galaxy, rests on the choices we make from here on out." Dr. Winters nodded slowly, feeling the enormity of the situation settle on his shoulders. The Queen's blood had chosen him, and now he had to decide whether he was willing to face whatever lay ahead. The air in the medical bay was heavy, thick with the tension that had been building ever since Queen Xanthia had awakened. Dr. Elias Winters stood beside her, the weight of their shared secret hanging between them. The Queen had spoken the truth. He was now bound to her blood, and the power that came with it. But as much as Dr. Winters wanted to help, he couldn't shake the feeling that things were spiraling out of control. What had begun as a simple act of saving a life had now evolved into a mission with far greater consequences. For the past few days, he had been working closely with the Queen, helping her recover from her injuries. Her strength was slowly returning, and her body was healing. But the closer he got to her, the more he realized that the power of her blood was something neither of them fully understood. It was dangerous. It was powerful. And it was now linked to him. Dr. Winters had thought that once the Queen's life was saved, he would be able to return to his quiet existence, his job as a doctor. But the deeper he got into the mystery of her blood, the more complicated everything became. The sudden voice of Lord Thalen broke through his thoughts. "Doctor," Lord Thalen said, stepping into the room with his usual calm but authoritative presence. "There are matters we must discuss." Dr. Winters looked up. "What is it, Lord Thalen?" Lord Thalen's eyes were focused and serious, his expression grim. "We need to talk about your involvement with the Queen. The blood, it is not just a gift. It is a responsibility. And there are forces here in the Voran Empire who believe that you should be removed from this matter." Dr. Winters frowned, confusion swirling in his mind. "Removed? Why?" Lord Thalen sighed deeply, a flicker of frustration passing over his face. "There are factions within our government who believe that you, a human, cannot be trusted with the power that the Queen's blood represents. They fear the unknown. They fear what might happen if your connection to the Queen becomes too strong." Dr. Winters stepped back. "But I'm just trying to help. I saved her life. Why would anyone want to stop that?" "Because," Lord Thalen said, his voice lowered, "there are those who want to use the power of the Queen's blood for their own purposes. They believe that the key to saving our empire lies in controlling this power. And they want to control you, Doctor." Dr. Winters felt a chill run down his spine. "Control me?" "Yes," Lord Thalen said, his tone heavy with warning. "There are Vorans who have long desired to use the Queen's blood to dominate the galaxy. They believe that they can harness its power to become invincible, to crush their enemies. But they do not understand the danger they are playing with. They do not understand the balance that must be maintained, and now they see you as the final piece in their puzzle." Dr. Winters shook his head, disbelief clouding his thoughts. "I never wanted any part in this. I'm just a doctor. I came here to save a life, not to become a pawn in some political game." Lord Thalen's gaze softened, but only slightly. "I understand. But there is no turning back now. The Queen's blood has chosen you, and that bond cannot be broken. You are caught in something much larger than either of us anticipated. And if we do not act quickly, you will be swept away by the forces that seek to control you." Dr. Winters felt a knot tighten in his stomach. "What do we do?" "We have two choices," Lord Thalen said, his voice becoming more urgent. "We can either fight these factions, risk everything to keep the Queen's blood out of their hands, or we can comply and allow them to take control. But I warn you, if you choose the second option, the consequences will be dire, for both you and the Queen." Before Dr. Winters could respond, the sound of footsteps echoed through the hallway, followed by the appearance of two armed guards. They stood at attention, their cold eyes focused on Lord Thalen, but there was something more, something ominous in their presence. Lord Thalen turned to face them, his expression unreadable. "What is this?" One of the guards spoke, his voice low and emotionless. "The council has decided. The human doctor is to be taken into custody." Dr. Winters' heart skipped a beat. What? Why? There is no time for explanation, the guard said flatly. You are to come with us. Dr. Winters felt a surge of anger and fear. You can't just take me. I'm trying to help. This is madness. Lord Thalen stepped between him and the guards, his hand raised. Wait. The guards hesitated, but only for a moment. Lord Thalen turned to Dr. Winters, his eyes filled with a mix of sympathy and resolve. I warned you that this would happen, he said quietly. There are factions who believe that your blood connection to the Queen is too dangerous. They believe you are a threat to the stability of our empire. Dr. Winters's mind was spinning. He had been trying to help, and now it seemed as if he was being thrown into the middle of a power struggle. He had no desire to be part of this political mess. All he wanted was to return to his quiet life as a doctor, to help people, not to be caught in the middle of an ancient war. But the truth was, he wasn't sure if he could walk away from this now. The bond between him and the Queen was real. Her blood had chosen him, and he had made a promise to help her. He could not abandon her now. I won't go with you, Dr. Winters said firmly, his voice shaking with both fear and determination. I won't let anyone use me or the Queen, for their own gain. If you want me, you'll have to force me. Lord Thalen looked at him with a mixture of respect and regret. I had hoped you would see reason, Doctor, but it seems we have reached a point of no return. The guards moved forward, but Lord Thalen stopped them with a sharp gesture. No, he said, his voice filled with authority. Let him go. If this is the path he chooses, then so be it. But know this, Doctor, this fight is far from over. If you stay, you will face the wrath of those who will stop at nothing to control the Queen's blood. Dr. Winters took a deep breath, steeling himself. I'm not afraid of them. Lord, Thalen nodded. Very well. But be warned, Doctor. There are many who will try to use you, and not all of them will be as honorable as I am. As the guards reluctantly stepped back, Dr. Winters knew that his life had just become far more complicated. But there was no turning back now. He had chosen his path, and it would take everything he had to see it through. Dr. Elias Winters stood at the edge of the corridor, watching as Lord Thalen and the guards retreated into the shadows. The tension in the room had lifted, but only slightly. His pulse was still racing, his mind spinning with the words he had just heard. He had thought that saving Queen Xanthia's life would be the end of his involvement. But now it was clear that this was only the beginning. The Queen's blood had chosen him, and that meant he was now a part of a much larger, far more dangerous game. The weight of Lord Thalen's warning hung over him. If you stay, you will face the wrath of those who will stop at nothing to control the Queen's blood. Dr. Winters took a deep breath, trying to steady his nerves. He had never wanted power. He was just a doctor, someone who spent his days healing, offering comfort to those who needed it. But now his skills were being pulled into the heart of a galactic struggle. He couldn't walk away, not with the E. Queen's life tied to his own, not with the fate of an entire species resting in his hands. Queen Xanthia was still lying in the medical bay, her strength returning slowly, but she was far from fully recovered. He knew he had to decide. Did he walk away, or did he stay and fight for her people, and for the future of the galaxy? He turned back to the Queen, her presence almost soothing in its quiet strength. Despite the dangers surrounding them, Dr. Winters felt a sense of responsibility toward her. She had entrusted him with her life. That alone was enough to keep him from backing down now. When he entered the medical bay, Queen Xanthia's eyes were already open, watching him with a quiet intensity. She had been aware of the conversation in the corridor, Dr. Winters could tell. She wasn't weak, not by any means. Her will was as strong as the power that flowed through her blood. I know what they said, she began, her voice steady despite the lingering weakness in her body. I know what Lord Thalen warned you about. Dr. Winters nodded, his brow furrowed. They're right. There are factions that want to use you and your blood for their own gain. But I won't let that happen. I won't be a part of that. Queen Xanthia's eyes softened. It's not just about the blood, Doctor. It's about the future of my people. For generations, we've been ruled by fear of our own power. We've hidden away from the galaxy, fearing what we could become. But you might be the one to change that. You're the key. The words felt heavy in the room. The Queen wasn't just talking about her blood anymore. She was talking about everything. The legacy of her people, their future, and the possibility of something different. I don't want to be anyone's key, Dr. Winters said quietly. I'm not a soldier, Queen Xanthia. I'm a healer. I don't want power. I just want to help. The Queen looked at him with understanding. I know, but you already have the power to help. You've saved me, and in doing so, you've shown that you're capable of understanding my blood in ways that no one else can. You didn't fear it. You didn't try to control it. You simply accepted it, and in doing so, you gave me a second chance. Dr. Winters paused, his thoughts swirling. He had never seen himself as anything more than a simple doctor. His job had always been to heal, not to lead, not to fight. But he was beginning to understand something. Maybe healing wasn't just about fixing wounds. Maybe it was about helping people understand the choices they had to make. Maybe in some strange way, that was exactly what he was being asked to do now. But I don't know how to fix this, he said, his voice tinged with frustration. I don't understand the power of your blood. I don't know how to control it. Queen Xanthia smiled faintly. Neither do I, but I believe we can figure it out together. I believe that you can help me, and in doing so, you will help my people. You've already proven that you're not afraid of the unknown. You've already faced the darkest part of my blood. Now, you must decide what you want to do with it. Dr. Winters looked at her for a long moment, his mind racing. The choice was clear, but the consequences were not. He could walk away. He could refuse to be a part of this dangerous game and leave the Vorans to their fate. Or he could stay, continue helping the Queen, and try to find a way to unlock the true potential of her blood. He could risk everything to protect her, and perhaps even change the galaxy in the process. For the first time in his life, Dr. Winters realized that he wasn't just a doctor anymore. He had become something more. Whether he liked it or not, the path ahead was no longer his to choose alone. It was linked to Queen Xanthia's blood, to the fate of her people, and to the power that they had both unlocked together. I'll stay, Dr. Winters said at last, his voice steady with resolve. I don't know how this will end, but I won't walk away. I won't leave you to face this alone. Queen Xanthia's eyes softened, and for the first time since he had met her, Dr. Winters saw a glimpse of hope in her gaze. Thank you, she said simply. You may not understand what lies ahead, but I believe that you are the one who can guide us. You have the courage to face the unknown, and that is what we need most. As Dr. Winters took a deep breath and turned toward the door, he knew that his life would never be the same again. He had made his choice. Now, he had to live with the consequences and face whatever the galaxy had in store for him. Outside the medical bay, the sound of footsteps echoed in the halls, signaling that the time for decisions had passed. He had chosen his path. There was no going back. Dr. Winters stepped forward, ready to face the future, ready to face the unknown. For the first time, he understood that his role was far greater than he had ever imagined. He was no longer just a doctor. He was a part of something, much bigger, a story that had yet to be written, but that was now in his hands.